How do you evaluate a business idea? Today I'm going to tell you how I evaluate business ideas, how me and my wife were constantly thinking of buying businesses, starting businesses. We probably throughout the year evaluate 20 to 25 different businesses, and we're constantly evaluating them in our head. What makes sense? Why does this not make sense? And we have talked before that the number one reason that we see a lot of businesses fail is not because they have a bad business idea. It's not because it may not work. It's because they didn't really think through every aspect of the business. And the biggest thing I'm going to talk about first is thinking through your opportunity cost. And I'll use an example of a wedding venue / winery. This is a business that we want to start eventually, and we've thought about buying some land, building a building on it, and wedding venues are great. You know, every weekend you're having weddings, you can make a ton of money. It's kind of a real estate play. You can eventually build it where it's kind of passive for you. But the biggest thing that we always talk through is what's our opportunity cost for that capital, right? So you're going to build a wedding venue, you have the land and everything. It's going to be about 1.5, 2.5 million, maybe 3 million depending on where it's at. So, and I'm going to have to put a down payment, maybe I have to get a loan. Even if I put all cash down, what's the opportunity cost? And a lot of people don't think through this. They just think through, oh, it'd be so nice to have a wedding venue, have a nice big building, you're able to name it. You tell people you own a wedding venue. A lot of ego involved with starting businesses. And you have to remove your emotion and remove your ego, and you really need to say, what is going to be my return on investment? And what's my opportunity cost on that investment, right? And the biggest thing that we keep telling ourselves is if we were to put money in the stock market, the S&P 500 has a last 30-year annual return of around 12%. Every year, sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but in the last 30 years, it's done 12%. So if we put that money in the stock market, we're looking at about a 12% return, and you compound interest that, and you know, you're looking at your ROI in 10 years, 15 years. Okay, that's where we're going to be. That requires no work, right? If I put the money in there, it requires no work. Zero work, and it continues to pay me. So when we start a wedding venue, we're taking on risk. When you start any business, you're taking on risk. So you should deserve, or you should get risk pay. And that means if I'm getting 12% in the stock market, my wedding venue better pay me 20 to 30% ROI. You know, factoring in the real estate appreciation year over year, we can do that. But it really should be, hey, the risk is worth the ROI on an annual basis versus me just putting that stock market and doing nothing. Okay, so it has to make money sense, because if it doesn't make money sense, then you're kind of putting more time into something that doesn't give you as much of an ROI. A lot of people don't understand this, and when you really break it down, you got to be thinking, okay, what is my alternative? What is my alternative when it comes to money, when it comes to investing in things? Opportunity cost. And the second thing is time, right? So a wedding venue, we were thinking, we're like, okay, you know, you're making this much a weekend, you can make 15, 20,000, so 2 weddings a weekend during the summer, that's 40 grand. You know, you're bringing in pretty good money in a month. You're looking at, you know, over $100,000 in a month during the high season, you know, if it's a nice venue. But who's going to manage everything? What does that look like? You know, if we pay a manager, you got to put this salary in there. You pay a coordinator, you got to put this salary in there. What if they don't show up? You're going to have to go show up to the wedding. And if you have this big expensive building, you're probably going to want to show up and make sure that people aren't destroying it. What if nobody comes to set up? You have to set up. So the biggest thing for us was like, we might get stuck a couple weekends of moving stuff around, of managing a wedding, moving things around. So, okay, that takes our time. And we already have a business right now that takes probably 50 to 60 hours a week during the week, and the weekends we have off. So is this something that we want to commit to with our current business? Or is this something that we want to do once we sell our business? That's what we were talking about. Let's say we sell our insurance agency, which is valued, and people have approached us in the past of selling our company for a good amount of money. Okay, what if we sell that and we were to step into this business? What would that look like? versus just keeping our business now. So when you're evaluating it, a lot of people, they're looking for ways that they should start a business when you really should look at ways why you shouldn't. Okay? I run my business now virtually. I can do my business from wherever. So I'm going to sell that to be tied down to a venue where I have to watch it like a hawk, and it's going to take a ton of money, and there's a lot of expenses involved, a lot of work involved. You have to find land, you have to manage the project. It's going to take over a year before you have that first wedding. You got to market it. You got to do all these things. You're rebuilding a business versus the business we have now. So we look at things differently than other people. We look at, why should we not do this? And let's write down all those things. Let's destroy the business idea. Let's completely disagree with whatever we're wanting to do. And when we do that, it's a glass half empty. I get that. And you shouldn't be like that in all areas of your life. I'm not saying that. I'm saying is you need to be your biggest critic when it comes to starting a business idea, because that's what it is. It's not an emotional decision. Yes, I would love to have a big wedding venue that we pull up and it's beautiful. There's vines, vineyards, wine, and everything. And I tell people, I own the wedding venue and winery. But that is not what makes you money. What makes you money is strategic decisions that are based on numbers and opportunity costs. So my ego needs to be set behind me. My whatever it is, why I want to have that business, should be strictly based on the numbers. It shouldn't be based on what I really believe. And the next thing we look at, number 3, is the business that we're buying or the business that we're starting, can it be resold? Can we sell that business? A wedding venue is a great business to sell because you have every weekend you have weddings coming in. It's a nice building. It's a real estate play. It's land. Land goes up. Buildings go up. And people are always going to get married. People are always getting married. And I don't think weddings are going to go back to the churches. They're going to getaways, buildings that are specifically built for weddings. People want to have a dream wedding, that experience, and people are paying more and more for it. Great business to start. Great business that's going to be sellable. And the biggest aspect of this is the time and the opportunity cost. When you run the numbers and you are conservative with your numbers, the building cost, the salaries, the ongoing, what's our pro forma cash flow analysis? What are we making every month? What are we making in the year? How much did we expend in? Okay, what's our ROI? Okay, so we put down, let's say we put down 750 grand, and our return on investment somehow is only $100,000. Okay, well, if we put 750 grand in the stock market, we get a 10% return or 12% return, we're looking at 85,090. So our risk pay is only 20 grand. No. We should be making 250 to 300 grand, maybe even 400 grand for us to be like, okay, we put 750 down, now we're getting 400. And that's a 40 to 50% return. That makes sense for us to go onto this because we're taking a risk to go 3x what we would get in the stock market, which is 10% times 3, 30 to 40%. Or 3 to 4x of what we're getting in the stock market. That's what you should be looking at. A lot of people don't look at business that way, and they're saying, well, if I can make 10% doing it my own instead of putting in the stock market, but you have the stock market, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know. I just know that over time that's going to continue to go up, and it's the most passive investment you could ever make. Real estate is not passive. You're getting risk pay. Real estate, if you're getting 12% in the S&P 500, you should be making 17 to 18 to 20% in real estate. If you're not making 20% in real estate, you're not getting your risk pay. You should be getting risk pay for investments that require time and risk, okay? Stock market, over a long period of time, that's going to go up. Very low risk, no touch, leave it in there. Okay, that's what you're getting. You should be making more money as a business owner than if you are investing, okay? So when you're evaluating a business idea, make sure that you are strategic with what your return on investment is. And if there's not a lot of investment, like you're starting a business, maybe a virtual assistant agency business or a social media management business where there's not really a big investment, those businesses, your biggest ROI or your biggest thing that you're looking at is your time. If I put time in this business and it's scaled out, how much can I make versus me putting time in another business or me putting time, I hate to say this, but in your job. What if you were to you're in sales, but what if you put your effort into that? Can you rebuild what you have? I know people that make $250,000, $300,000 a year, and they've talked to me about potentially starting a business, and I said I wouldn't do it. unless you have a specific business in which you can go make 700, 800 grand, which is very hard to do, and you have that skill, maybe you do, but if you don't, you're giving up a lot of risk from your salary to go start something that will take you years to get back to where you're at 300,000. Unfortunately, someone has paid you too much money to give up on your dreams unless you really, really want to do it. But you have to look at it strategically from a numbers standpoint in life. Take out your emotion. I understand. I'm on my YouTube, I post videos all the time about being an entrepreneur. You should be an entrepreneur. You should be an entrepreneur. Yes, I 100% agree with that. But you have to be strategic before you just go jump into a business idea. You have to really evaluate it. And if you need help evaluating a business idea, what you want to do, reach out to me. I have a link in the bio below where you can book a call with me. Also, I have a free ebook that I'll tell you about right now. Hey, thanks for watching that video. If you're looking for a business idea or how to buy a business, I have the blueprint for you, Your Next Business. It's a free ebook that I wrote. You can download it for free if you click the link in my video description. Let me help you become an entrepreneur today.